Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Ruffman. I am your host, John Ruffman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to point out each and every day, it expands our base. The Middle East is teetering and tottering, and there will no doubt be vast implications to the Israeli strike in Beirut, which took out a leader of Hezbollah, and the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. Haniyeh, a leader in the political thinking of Hamas, was taken out by Israeli forces. Now, nobody says that Israel did it, but that's what happened. And so the question is, what happens next? I spoke this morning with friends in Israel who told me that there is no doubt that this will result in a change in what is happening. First of all, let's point out that Iran is vitally involved in all of the actions being taken. The reason? The taking out of Haniyeh took place in Tehran itself, on Iranian territory. And the Iranians are speaking out loudly, clearly, that they will not stand for this. And so the question will become, how directly involved will Iran become? Remember that Israel is vulnerable on several levels. First of all, there will be attacks, no doubt, by Hezbollah from the north on northern Israel. And I would remind you that 80,000 Israelis have had to evacuate their homes over the last number of months because of constant rocket attacks by Hezbollah. Hamas in the south, there is no doubt that Hamas is strengthened by what is happening now. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. They are getting more rockets and they will fire them into Israel. There is no doubt about it. And of course, it is important to note that Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, has declared a day of solidarity and mourning in the case of the death of Haniyeh. And remember, Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, no love lost between them. And this means that there will almost certainly be an escalation in the Middle East conflict. Remember that this is a series of conflicts. Hamas versus Israel, Hezbollah versus Israel, Iran versus Israel, and, of course, most significant in a way, hanging over all of this, the Houthis in Yemen, who were able to fire a rocket over Tel Aviv. This is a growing conflict. And the question is, what can the United States do? Let's think about what is going on. First of all, Secretary of Defense Austin made clear in a statement yesterday that the United States backs Israel and its right to defend itself. Therefore, the United States is now directly involved. And more than that, Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States and presumptive Democratic nominee for president, has declared American solidarity with Israel and our commitment to her defense. These issues continue to grow. The attacks on Benjamin Netanyahu, who was just in Washington speaking before Congress and explaining the dangers which existed, turns out he was pretty much spot on. An effective speech, but as one of my Israeli colleagues said, it will take more than a speech to change the direction of the Middle East. How will this impact the American presidential race? One thing is clear. Democrats and Republicans alike support Israel in its struggle to continue to battle terrorist extremists. Israel is on the front line, and America is backing Israel. And that means, as Tehran and Hezbollah in Lebanon are indicating, that Israel and the United States are equal targets. That means that there will be intensive security beef-ups. And of course, we now know that Iran was planning a terrorist hit against Donald Trump. The Secret Service has confirmed, and the FBI has confirmed, that those reports are in fact true, which means that Iran is now directly involved in trying to interfere in the American political process. All of this develops each and every day. There are new developments every hour. And of course, everyone now waits to see what the point and counterpoint will be in the continuing Middle East conflict. The important element here is that the United States remains steadfast in its support for Israel. We understand clearly in this country that the attempts to attack Israel are really attempts to destroy that country. Make no mistake, there is no two-state solution as long as Hamas and many members of the Palestinian Authority and Iran and the Houthis and Hezbollah oppose Israel's very right to exist. And so the tensions grow and increase. And there is another implication for Jews in the United States and living around the world. We know that there is a tremendous increase in Jew hatred. We know that those attacks on Jews, particularly vulnerable Jews in Europe, will continue. And this escalation of tension will certainly ensure this will be a major discussion, not just on the United States political scene, but in the world. My own view of all of this is clear. Israel has an absolute right to exist. Israel has an absolute right to defend itself. It does not mean that you have to agree with every policy expressed by the government of Benjamin Netanyahu, but it means that whoever is prime minister of Israel, whether it is somebody from the left or the right, will confront the same tragic situation. The whole point of Israel was to provide security for its citizens. No nation can function without guaranteeing the security of those who live within its borders. And it is clear now that that is the real challenge for Israel. When you have 80,000 Israelis having evacuated the north, when you have threatened attack against Tel Aviv and Haifa, and yes, Jerusalem, when you have these real sense of danger, there is a problem. So we will see what happens in the world in the next few days, and particularly what happens in Israel, and particularly how the United States responds and how the world responds. All of these issues will grow and will influence, no doubt, the American presidential campaign. Remember that the primary job of a president of the United States is generally in foreign policy. That's what Richard Nixon said, and I think it's true to this day. Foreign policy dominates. So we're going to watch and we're going to talk about what happens in the Middle East and its impact on American politics. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which is, of course, our goal. I want to express my appreciation to many of you who have commented by email, Facebook, and various means of communications in order to let me know what you think about what's going on. So keep doing it. I'm very happy to hear from you. And to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this program, thanks a million, Gogo. Let's hope the news is better tomorrow.